So this is video 2 on working with settings in WordPress. And I'm back at the dashboard just because I want to show you how you can work with getting to your settings from the settings menu. So I'll come over here to settings and hover over that, and notice that the menu comes out and I can do a quick jump to any of those settings sections. So I want to pick discussion real quick. Now, while the discussion settings do have a lot of different options, they are grouped so you can kind of get similar things together and find items easier. So for example, we have default post settings, and those all revolve around what do I want to do with a post when I create a new post by default. So for example, do I want to notify any blogs that I link to from within my post? So I can actually send a notification to them. Do I want to allow people to submit comments to my new post? And depending upon the website that I'm doing and the purpose of the website, I may or may not want that. If I look at other comment settings, I can see things like, for example, do I only allow this if a person fills out a name and an email address? Do I make them have to be registered in order to post the content and be signed in addition to being registered? Do I want to do things like automatically close comments after a set number of days? And by default, it's 14, but it's turned off. And so I can turn it on and I can change that 14 to be 5 or 21 or 60 even if I want to. So there's a lot of different settings changes I can make in the comments. Now, with that, I can choose if I want WordPress to email me. For example, what happens if someone posts a comment or if a comment's held for moderation? Should I get an email to be known about that as the administrator? And this is for the administrator of the website. There's other things I can do, such as what do I want to do first time a comment is written by someone, as well as general comment moderation. And this can be everything from don't allow certain IP addresses or don't allow certain words in there. Just kind of a whole idea that can go through this. Scrolling down further, I find a whole subsection on avatars, and that is, do I want a little picture to show up next to it? By default, it's turned on, but only G-rated avatars are allowed. So I can change that to be everything from G, which is, kids are allowed to see it, all the way up to X, which is very adult, risque. You wouldn't want to have that on a public site potentially. And then I can choose a default avatar in case someone hasn't created one. Now you might say, well, where does this avatar come from? Well, if they have an avatar that is linked to, for example, through WordPress.com, they have an avatar shown there, that will be pulled in when they pull in a similar email address. So those informations can come from different places. We're not going to worry about that. Avatars, there's a lot of love and hate in those depending upon who you are, if you think they ought to be used or not used. And so those are the options that you can have. And the reason why people sometimes get upset with them is early on they didn't have a good way to set ratings for them, and sometimes things would slip through. They're much better about that now, but still some people carry that over and they don't want that. It's supposed to be more straightforward business type. So you can choose to just not show avatars if you want. When I click on media, you'll see some default image sizes. And so we upload it, WordPress, and we're going to find out later on when we talk about uploading images, but when you upload an image, some different sizes get built automatically for you. You can change that based upon what you're using the website for, what your expected screen sizes are going to be, etc. The defaults actually work pretty well in most circumstances, so you can kind of leave that be. I also recommend leaving the uploading files as a little checkbox there. It says organize my uploads into month and year-based folders. The reason why is some older operating systems have issues if you have too many files in a particular folder. And so this allows things to be spread out, lets you know when they are uploaded a little bit easier. and just helps with organization stuff. So typically you're going to leave that checked as default. When you click on permalinks, you're going to get some different settings here. You can see. Now, the most common thing that a permalink is used for is how do I want to display a post? So what do I want that URL to look like? In the old days, you'd have something plain like you see up at the top, and it'd be question mark P equals and then some value, and people look at it and go, that's kind of weird. What does post 123 mean, or 786, or 204? And so they gave you the ability to put in things like the post name, or put in a numeric value like archives 123 that you see. A lot of people nowadays, they put the day, month, year, etc. as well as a post name. Other people just put the month and day. When you click on these different options, you'll notice that your custom structure changes. And so, for example, you might choose month and name, and so you have here the year and the month without the day. You might say, you know what, I just want the year, and you can go in there and change the custom setting. So it gives you some different things that you can kind of look at and play with if you want to. And it's just designed strictly for your post and how are those links going to look. You have some other optional settings down below. Typically, you're going to leave these blank. If you made any changes, click on Save Changes. And now we're going to go to our privacy page. Now, the privacy is a relatively new one. It came out just a couple of versions ago. And in this particular example, it's asking, where is your privacy policy page? Now, hopefully you have a page for this. This has become really big, especially because of some changes that the EU has mandated. Also, some rules coming out of California in the United States that are being mandated. You have to specify any data you're collecting, how you're using that, who has access to it. It's a huge ordeal. So WordPress has put this in there so you can easily find a privacy policy page. A lot of times a privacy policy page is created with your initial instance now, or your theme. It will automatically go in and create one for you when you install it if it hasn't been there. You can choose to say use this page, or you can create a brand new page. Now, one of the things you do have to be careful of is just because you have a page that's for your privacy policy and it comes default, they don't know what your policy is going to be. So you'll have to go in and make tweaks and changes to it if necessary. So do keep that in mind as well. And that's this basic settings that you get with WordPress to kind of let you know how things are set up and how to do things inside WordPress, allowing you to further configure your website based upon the needs that you will have.